Now today there's an interesting topic that I want to cover for you. As you know, I am from Turkey. I'm a Turk, and I have been always talking and discussing the global effects or the global economy or the global policy and other things, that how it might affect Turkey. But today I want to take a little bit differently and see an event in very far away from Turkey and how it makes a resemblance with Turkey. And example is coming from Mexico. Now, as you know, there's now a Mexican president. His name is, I'm just looking at my notes at the moment, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. And he has been suggesting that the electrical producer in Mexico should be somehow controlled by government. During his campaign for presidency, he has stated this a lot, and after he had gained the power in office, now we are seeing that he has been trying to do whatever he had promised. Now in 2013, there was a country's energy reforms had taken place through the parliament, and he doesn't like it at all. There's a Spanish company called Iberdrola, which is now controlling 25% of the energy needs of Mexico. Now, what does it mean, by the way? Mexico has a very large population and a very large economy. Controlling 25% of a country's need means a huge influence in terms of economy and plus politics. Now, President Lopez Obrador sees this as a threat to national sovereignty as much as national interest. Economy has been affected badly because there might be a Mexican company who can do this, but instead there is a Spanish company who is taking the benefits of it. Moreover, it has been producing a kind of negative aspects in terms of foreign affairs, because your actions cannot be independent when there is a huge influence in terms of manufacturer or producer within your country from foreign states. Therefore, Lopez has thought how he could be able to overcome this problem. He had seen that in parliament there is no huge support for his action, which through his government he can gain. Therefore, he has been using some, I will say, unconventional tactics or strategies. And on 8th of February 2019, there is a state called Morelos, sorry for the pronunciation, especially from Mexicans. But he had his administration expressed their opinion that they should like to go for a poll for a electric producer company, Iberdrola, a facility that they have constructed over there with a cost of $628 million. Now, of course, this shouldn't be taking place, but since he has no support from the parliament, he has opted his way to announce these kind of ideas, and he is very serious about his intention. Now, how does it make sense to Turkey? The question is this, and the answer is very easy. Now, recently, around 10 days ago, the president of Turkey had openly started a debate about the grocery prices, which he had personally expressed his feeling that they are going to fight with the high prices. And he has set up a facility we call it in Turkey Tanzim. It means distribution. So he's now selling the groceries in these distribution centers, he calls, as we refer in Turkish, with a much more, maybe half prices in the private market, and he had to use not the power of the government or the authorities in the government, but he has used his own power to take his own initiative. Now, I don't share the idea with President Erdogan that a government or a state president like Turkey, especially, one of the most important countries in the world, should openly open a fight against grocery prices. It's not. It's of course his responsibility, let me say like this, but it's not directly his responsibility. He should have his own people who should take these kind of actions. A president's job is not to watch every, I would say, tomato or potato prices in the market in that depth. He should have his, I would say, municipality mayors or responsible person in the municipal departments who is supposed to be watching these prices and taking the actions against high prices. So this is, in that term, is very bad. Although the intention is very much appreciated by people in Turkey, especially before the elections, and it will increase his popularity, which means more votes in the coming March 2019 elections. Now coming to Lopez, he knows that he cannot set an or poll about it, especially for a region, about electricity facility. It is about a state's own plan, and it should be approved or rejected through the parliament. But his move is also going to increase his popularity, and these two leaders in that aspect is very much alike each other. So not only in Turkey strange things are happening, also it's other parts of the world. It's also taking interesting and unconventional, I will say, decisions are taken by decision leaders or leaders in that regard. So I hear and I read a lot of topics how President Erdogan's unconventional methods are not well respected by global community, which I respect to hold the ideas, but I cannot say that only global or Turkey's President Erdogan is alone in that regard. There are a lot of leaders all over the world who's alike each other. So this is not only a problem to Turkey, if it is called a problem, these kind of things, but it's a global problem that needs another kind of action. And this is not supposed to be taken by other states, but more like, because criticism pushed them to take more decisive actions against those people. So the real action that it should be taken in that regard is people. If you educate the people well enough to decide to make them aware what is good and what is bad for a country's future, during the polls or elections, people will vote no or yes. I mean, that's fair as it should be. So that's not the case. But at the end of my conversation, I would like to say that strange things doesn't happen only in Turkey. It happens also in countries in Mexico. So please, world, I mean, if you are going to watch this at 10 till here now, don't forget that too.